But let's get into a couple of Frank's charts here at the end here, Frankie.
Let's do it.
And we've already talked a lot of Frank's charts out there already.
We've definitely hit several of them. Why don't we just quickly start with just really quick with the Twitter? I think that's really interesting bear chart, and you very briefly, we don't have to go too crazy on it, but after breaking down, working back into that old support as new resistance, dojing above the 200, which you got to give that a little bit of credit. I do think at this point in time, you have to take out both today's low and that 200. You would get you that in the process, but just a very, very textbooky bearish retracement, right? I know you had it as well, Maddie. Anything you'd add to that technically?
No, I think obviously you're seeing a little bit of sell in the market here right now. You haven't really seen any follow through on Twitter. That kind of just in the back of my mind is like, come on, what? Let's go.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But the let's go start points with confirmation for me. And so when you're talking about confirmation, you always got to pick your line in the sand. And my line in the sand kind of goes right at the low of today, and you couple that with the 200-day moving average. And so I think if you get right back underneath that 200-day moving average, I think it's a quick journey to 60, but obviously you're probably targeting lower than that.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, you're kind of testing that first level, right? And then the real payday is if that level gives out, because there is room to the downside. All right, this is one that we talked about last week as a breakout, at least in the reports, and that is OSCR, Oscar Health. I love what I'm seeing these last few days here in Oscar. We had the double bottom happen back in August, right? Captured the 9, got back on the right track, went basically sideways the last couple of weeks. We were looking at it, and I was definitely looking at it as a breakout coming into this week. Wasn't meant to be, but we maintained pattern. Heck, I even like it more because we pulled back and tested that rising 9 and bounced off of that into that resistance. I see a really clear path on these guys into that old IPO, old low, old pivot that we have there at around 2070, give or take. Definitely a really clean chart, I thought.
I think, I do too. And your targeting, it's going to be a little subjective.
Sure.
Swing trading, and I'm doing a swing trading webinar on Monday. Swing trading is all about, basically zones and targets, right? Do you like the zone? And if the zone holds, where do you like the target type thing? Well, I like the breakout here. I think the breakout's really clean. I like that technical pattern. I like the time over the last week, the consolidation, holding that 9, really kissing up against that breakout channel. I think you drive it into 20. Old resistance, old support coincides with some resistance over here as well. I think 20 is kind of a target. Above 20, I think you're looking at 2180.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And what I always tell people, and myself included, with targets is ask yourself 2 questions. Number one, does it make sense? That window, we could squabble over pennies on the window, right? But that's the window that makes sense.
Well, they're all zones, right?
Yeah, everybody's so the window is, it might be a little different from trader to trader, but the zone is going to be the same. And then does it make sense to you? If you're trailing your stop loss up off the hourly 9, trying to get up to 2180 probably doesn't make sense for that style of management, right? So line up your management style with your targeting style, but really liked that on the breakout side of things.
I like it too.
One of the very clean charts I felt was First Solar, FSLR.
I wrote down First Solar as well. And then I crossed it off, and then I wrote it down again, and that's where I'm at right now. Like, I don't know what I was trying to convince myself out of, because every time I look at this, I just see a nice flag that kissed off the 9.
Yeah, I mean, nothing fancy, right? Flag off of the 9.
I think what happened, Frank, is I wrote down First Solar that when I scanned, and then I got into the power morning meeting with Mark and Tim, and they're like, "Hey, are you concerned about this, Mark?" And I'm like, "Let me cross off First Solar."
Bull,
and then I wrote it. Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Bull's not named Microsoft or something along those lines. Yeah,
I like it though. I like it.
A very easy trade on the entry side of things. This is an interesting one because I think, the way I was thinking about this one, it's almost like, and I bet you'll talk about this in your swing trading webinar, a little bit of the front running of those old highs, right? So, we do have to navigate those old highs, and, while it's a little wicky, I'm going to call it, 110, it's, up in that range. that's an area that we obviously have to respect. A breakout of that area would be really obviously a good signal. We've had a great movement as of late. So I was kind of thinking about this as a scaling into the potential break and add on the breakout type of a trade. It's kind of where my head was with these guys.
You know, when you're looking at flag-based patterns, and I love the debate on scaling. I absolutely geek out on the debate on front running and scaling, because when is it appropriate versus when is it not, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's all about the quality, because you're never going to get a great R to R when you're trading a bull flag and you're front running into resistance. You're just not, right. You're trying to maximize your potential. There is what you're trying to do. You're trying to get in front of, like, let's say this is the wave, right? And you're trying to get in front of those algorithms that drive it upward on the breakout. And so you're trying not to miss that hypothetical that the breakout might represent. And so I love the debate on the front running and when is it appropriate. Flags to me are one of my favorite patterns to front run, because they have momentum behind the trend. You have nice momentum behind the trend. You see a very consistent flag that comes into the 9. I like that from a momentum. That's just traders locking in profit. That's all that is. You see that big time increases in volume, short decreases in volume there. Pullback looks good. Stabilization coming in on the 9. You like that? Yeah, I like a scaled in approach on a front run here on First Solar. And yeah, I went from loving First Solar to not liking it to now loving it again. That's what today has represented.
You've gone through the full gauntlet, huh? I like it.
I respect it.
I just needed Frank's wise words. That's all I needed.
I like it.
Yeah, all right, Tim, I got 2 more rapid fire. 1 bull, 1 bear. On the bearish side, LYB.
LYB, specialty chemical.
Specialty chemicals,
Yep.
support, reverse cup and handle, room to go. Not a lot of support for quite some time. So nothing too crazy on that one. On the other end of it, SHLS. And I have these guys
34?
as a little bit of a 34 break. Yep, 34 breakout.
Drive to 36
into that. Yep, 36 by just 37.50. I'll call it just shy of 38.
Walk up the stairs.
And they've been really nice in that regard and been pretty clean. So just another little breakout candidate. And I would be remiss to not bring up Applied Materials, one of our favorite to tackle trading. They're pushing to the top of their trading range they've been in for quite some time. So maybe not necessarily for a trade next week, but anytime one of your favorite stocks is, in a long-term range.
Did you say, hey, Matt?
I said, hey, Matt. Yeah,
that's what you said.
I said, hey, Matt. We still have some, we haven't broken out yet, but anytime one of your favorite stocks is at a resistance level, a key level, or in that ballpark at least, it's time to start thinking about what, if anything, I'd be interested in doing, right? Uncovering. I know Izakar said earlier on PLTR, he had to uncover yesterday, right? He was ready to do so because it was at that important price range, right? Yeah. And same with the AMAT here. So definitely a chart worth monitoring going forward, I think.
100%. Great company, fundamental darling, tackle 25 darling for many, many, many years. Applied Materials, this is what it can do on a breakout. Look at the breakout. Look at the run. Consolidation, long-term consolidation now. Look at the breakout potential. Keep an eye on it. Get it on the radar. I agree with that one, Frankie.
Keep it on your
radar. See how I snuck in a third, Tim, when I buttered you up and said 2 were coming? And you didn't mind. And you didn't even mind.
And by the way, the one you flashed through real quickly, that LYB is definitely an interesting chart and pattern for the bear side. I'm glad that you grabbed that. Fits something with the basic materials theme with the weakness there as well. So